So today, let us continue with the Heart Sutra, and we are still explaining the 5 skandhas. Why do we have to spend so much time in explaining the 5 skandhas? Because that is the theme of the whole sutra. The 5 skandhas are empty. If you can perceive that the 5 skandhas are empty, then you become free from all suffering. When you perceive the 5 skandhas are empty, the word perceive contains very profound meaning. Not just perceiving it through the language, not just perceiving it through just a superficial understanding of it. Because if you just read a book about emptiness, read a book about 5 skandhas, you can easily understand what it means. It's not a perceived knowledge. There's a difference between perceived knowledge and enlightened knowledge. Perceived knowledge is very superficial. You read a book, you receive certain knowledge, you know certain things, but it's just a perception without deep practice of enlightenment. You really have to go deep into it, which means that it's not just perception, it's grounded in the mind that you have this deep-rooted understanding of emptiness. So that's the reason why we have to go through its meaning in detail. And if you understand the 5 skandhas, then you understand vijnana, you understand consciousness. If you don't understand the 5 skandhas, you wouldn't be able to understand consciousnesses. So there are 8 consciousnesses, and all within the realm of the 18 realms, 6 sense organs, 6 objects, and 6 consciousnesses, which is 3, 6 is 18. So we're all living within the 18 realm of perception, conceptualization, and volition. So that's the reason why we have to spend so much time into it. And if you understand 5 skandhas and the 18 realms, whenever you come across knowledge like Vijnanavadin school about consciousness, you will understand it. Of course, there's a lot more in there that we still have to touch on, but that's the groundwork for leading us to understand more about the Vijnanavadin school. So we still haven't finished the 5 skandhas, but it's worthwhile to go back to it. So this is what it is. Remember we said the manager who control all the salesmen, the eye salesman, the ear the salesman, the nose salesman, the tongue salesman, the body salesman, and then the mano is the manager. When we get to the manager, it becomes the mind now. When we have perception, we have 3 sensations come out: pleasurable, unpleasurable, and neutral. That's comprehensive. It includes everything. It's either pleasurable, something pleasurable, and something unpleasurable, and something neutral. If it is pleasurable, it becomes an attraction to you. If it is unpleasurable, it becomes a repulsion to you. If it is neutral, it doesn't create anything except that you stay in that mind of being not pleasurable and not unpleasurable, but you still attach to it. You still have an attachment to that neutral feeling. Whether it is an attraction or a repulsion, it is a sensation comes to you. You love the attraction and you're angry with the repulsion, and we create all these emotions from sensations. You may not realize the 3 sensations arise. You may not realize it. And if you realize it, you would have controlled it. You won't be led away by the sensation. Like you love something, you love it, and you continue to love it. You won't say, is this love an attachment? And is this kind of love, what is the object of my love? The object of my love is, I don't know, many, many things you love, and you create an emotional feeling about love, and you can't get rid of it. You're emotionally attached to it because you have the sensation about it. You love the attraction so much that you don't know it's wrong or right, or you don't care. You just love it. Loving something because of an attraction, if you continue to do the loving, you're addicted to it. The love becomes an addiction when you habituate it. If the love is just superficial, you don't habituate it, it won't get into an addiction. But if you get into loving and loving and loving, it becomes an addiction to you. You can't get away with it. You could die with it. You could kill with it. You could steal with it. And you don't mind about human dignity because of your addiction to it. You want to be standing in front of a liquor store and begging for $1 or an accumulation of a few dollars, and you go in again to buy another liquor, another bottle of liquor. Your dignities are lost. You don't have human dignity anymore because your love turned into an addiction and you don't know about it. It seems so easy to get rid of the love for bystanders. Here's a wino standing in front of a liquor store. You despised him because he could just eradicate his hobby of drinking, but he just can't because he's addicted to it. You may be laughing at him, but how about you yourself? You could have another kind of addiction to the kind of love that maybe you were addiction to when you were a woman. You love a man so much that you could do anything for him. It does not matter whether he betray you or not. That's perception. You have three kinds of sensations. Many people say love is a many-splendid thing. That's what we have. But it's love that gets us into trouble. It does not mean that you don't have to be compassionate. You can be compassionate to all humans. But there's a difference between compassion and love. And that we already have to differentiate. So, that is perception. And then the sensation is not enough. When you have that sensation of pleasurable and pleasurable, then it works in your mind that it's not just about sensation. Because the sensation itself is very front end. When certain attraction comes up, if you build up that attraction initially, then you go back to your memory. This thing is so beautiful. And you go back to the same kind of beauty that you love in your memory. You go back to the past, you analyze about it, you love it so much, you conceptualize it according to your memory, you analyze it, you love it so much, you add in your opinion about it. Your love is your opinion, is your bias. A wandering dog in a street will love any feces the dog encounter. He loved it so much. When the human look at the dog, it would be disgusting. But the dog loves it so much. So everybody's perception is different. Everybody's conceptualization is different. I still remember a Japanese poem. It says something like this. At the clap of hands, a Japanese poem. At the clap of hands, the waitress come bringing tea. The waitress listen to the clap of hands. The waitresses come serving tea at the clap of the hands of the master of the house. The flying birds get scared at the clap of hands. He thought someone is going to shoot. At the clap of hands, the carps and the swimming in the pool is gathering to receive food. So it's the same clapping of hands. How come it could be perceived so differently? Because of the karma. Because of the karma that we have. So we conceptualize, we analyze it, so that goes into conceptualization, including memory, analysis, and judgment, and biases, and etc., and etc. Volition is something deeper, because you link up your conceptualization, your analysis and judgment with your ego, with the director in you, which is the manas, vijnana. which is not just the manager, it's the director, it's the ego of that company. He ties everything to his ego. I love this, I hate this. This is my personal view. Anything that benefits me, I'll do. Anything that does not benefit me, I won't do. That ego has been carried on from many, many reincarnations, many, many cycles before. It has been brought forward from one form to another, from one body to another, unendingly, up to now. And it's been built up with so much karma with it. That's the ego. Knowing all these things, then you know that it's the ego that gets us into trouble. Are you going to do something about your own ego? It's the ego that brought us suffering. It's the ego that gives us all these mental afflictions of jealousy, hatred, of love. You love your families, you love your son so much. You gave him all the love since baby, and now your son walked away from you. He didn't want to do university, he didn't want to go study, he just went away with his girlfriend, he just ignored you, and you love him so much, he didn't even listen to your phone call. Your heart is broken, you suffer. When you are nurturing, you have been nurturing your son, you are attached to it with so much emotional, egoistic feeling about it. You can't get rid of that feeling. When you analyze the 5 skandhas, you know that my body's form is because of different causes put together, and they're all impermanent. They all come from karmic interreaction. And the Buddha said, don't continue this life. Purify it, and you go into a very blissful environment where you don't have this egoistic feeling anymore, no more conceptualization and perception. You're in pure awareness. That pure awareness is something that you may call it Buddhahood. You may call it the true mind, the real mind. And that awareness may not be important to you right now until you suffer. When you suffer, you think about it. When you don't suffer, you don't think about it. It's just like every moment now, you don't appreciate your present moment. You don't know the importance of your present moment. Until one day, you discover something, you discover you're in suffering, and you started to think about, now I'm suffering, I'm suffering now, and I thought of those good moments that I didn't have this kind of suffering. When you are slowly losing something, you start to realize the treasure of it. When you have your eyesight, you don't appreciate your own eyesight because you've got it. When you have ears to listen to, you don't appreciate that much because you got it. When your body is in good health, you don't appreciate it because you've got it until you lose it. Then you start to think, oh, those are the good days when I have all this kind of thing. But the Buddha said, you live at the present moment. At the present moment, you have all these, and why don't you do something about your spirituality? Why you are still having all these faculties that you can use? You've been using your faculties to love attraction, to hate repulsion. Why don't you use your present faculties to get rid of all those, to purify yourself? But we won't. We just continue the karmic evolution that we have. We don't even realize it. We enjoy every present moment with love and hatred. If tomorrow I have to die, what would I do today? Some people say, I just wait here and have a good time, have a party and drink everything, eat everything, and then I died. Some people will say that. If I have only one day to live, I would find the most beautiful girlfriend and I would drive the most luxurious car and I would live in a big mansion. They are still looking for the egoistic attraction and repulsion. If I have one day to live, the first thing I do is, because that guy got me into trouble, got me into bankruptcy, I want to kill that guy before I leave this world. So we are living in a topsy-turvy thinking. Topsy-turvy? What should be the top? You say it is the bottom. You just think in the opposite way. We got lost already. So there's volition. The volition is getting more into the egoistic field now. The manas is always working with mano, the manager. The director is always working with the manager. They're working for this karmic interaction, your mental level. And then vijnana is the final level. What is this vijnana? When you die, you carry all those actions and volitions and everything that you have done when you were alive, or everything in your previous life, into that memory, into the vijnana. And that vijnana is, of course, not visible. You would see it when you come to a level of enlightened perception. I see my own egoistic feeling. I'm going to stop it. In other words, at that time, you step back as a third person looking at your egoistic feeling. Because all egoistic feeling come in an instant or fraction of a second. It's very easy. It's really easy to get that feeling from people. You talk to a person, I intend to find egoistic feeling of that person. You start to ask questions and you see what kind of answers. So at the juncture of death, your body is not surviving anymore. Mano, the manager, retired because there's no salesman to be supervised. There's no customers to attend to. Retire into the director's chamber, and the director's chambers retire into what? Into the alaya vijnana, which is a conglomerate of what you have done, everything in your previous life, everything you have done, every thought, everything into that, which become an energy, if we want to call it an energy, a karmic energy. With that karmic energy, you're going to roll into your next life. This life you are John, the next life depends on what you have done. You may become a Jeanette, who knows? Could be a woman, could be a man. Mozart, at the age of 7 and 8, could compose music. He just remembered from previous life. He didn't learn it in this life. There are many, many examples like that. Why are there some prodigies like that, and why there are prodigies who are not like that? And somehow it's because of the karmic energy that happened in previous life, which reiterate into this life. Is the 5 skandhas the true identity, your true identity, or it is not your true identity? For an enlightened sentient being, the 5 skandhas is me. I'm nothing but a body and mind. But the Buddha said, no, that's not your true, real mind. That's just a fictitious force mind that you have. There's a difference between a force mind and a true mind. The 6 senses react to the 6 objects affecting the 6 consciousnesses, which is the 18 rams. We're all living in the 18 ram, which is impermanent, which has no essence. It exists for a short time, and it exists on causes. You don't have a real identity in your force mind. Your body, speech, and mind produces karma, and every karma, every karmic energy produced is not the real you. It's all causes put together. Karma is basis for life and death, the reincarnations. If detached from object, it has no substance. In other words, it does not have its own essence, because you interact with objects, then you act accordingly. You don't have a self-identity. You don't have a true self. In the Sanskrit language, it's svabhava. When something has its own identity and essence and self, let me give you an example. Say a bit of gong, there's a gong in there. I hit the gong, or there's a wooden fish, I hit the wooden fish, the sound is produced. Does the wooden fish has its identity, has its real essence, has its real svabhava? I hit it because my hand is holding this wooden stick and my hand is applied to it, and the wooden fish is there, and the fish is made as a musical instrument that is made in such a way that it's hollow inside. It's just been sitting there, and there's a lot of reason and causes put together that when I hit it, the sound is produced. So the production of the sound is based on all these causes put together, and not because of the wooden fish in there. It's not because of my hand. It's not because of anything. It's a lot of reasons put together for it to happen. That is asvabhava, without its essence. If this wooden fish has its substance, it does not have to depend on my hand. It can produce its own sound. Then it has a substance. That's the definition of a substance, svabhava and asvabhava. It does not need any reason, any causes, any factors for the sound to happen. Then it has its own identity. But nothing in this world has its own identity. It's only based on causality. But everybody, me, you, we don't think it that way. We don't think about that way. I'm John, I'm Jack, this is my mom, this is my dad. Seldom people will say, this is my mom for this life. This is my dad for this life. No, they won't say that. Dependent on causation and characterized by duality and impermanence, every feeling seems to have two extremes, love and hatred, tall and short. You differentiate it. You're biased about it. It's living on a duality. But the Buddha said, this is not the real you. We've been living in this false you, fictitious you, and we don't realize it. And do you realize that you have the true you? And somebody call it eternity you, and somebody call it the God inside of me, somebody call it the Buddha nature. It does not matter how you call it. We call it different names. But that is something, the real you, that is in you, that's been covered. And if you detach from objects, then it has substance. That real you is when you do not attach anymore. When your salesman, your eyes, your nose, your ears, and all this don't attach to outside anymore, when your manager don't attach to outside anymore, when you don't have that ego anymore, then that's the time when your alaya consciousness is all purified. That's the real eternity, that's the real you. Because at that time, that real you is away from reincarnation, away from suffering. No more of that. That's not the same as going to heaven. Going to heaven, you enjoy the happiness in heaven for a million years. You still have to die because you still have that karmic energy in you. You are still not purified. You go to heaven because you have done all kinds of meritorious things. You build all the causes for you to go to heaven, and then you enjoy heaven because you've done all the good causes. You've been very generous, you've been helping, you didn't do any wrong thing, but you still have attachment. You still have an ego. You still have a self. With that self, you go to heaven. With that self, after you enjoy, based on the karma, what you've got in heaven, you still have to reincarnate. That's not the ultimate way to go. So, when the false mind arises from it, it has not lost its substance. That means if you have discovered and maintained a true mind, do you mean that you have to leave this world? You still use that false mind to live, but behind it, that real mind is already exists because you have been enlightened. It's just like the Buddha. 2,600 years ago, the Buddha's mind is enlightened. But when he lived in this world, he still eat, he still walk, he still talk. When a mosquito bites, he still feels itchy. Because the body is still there, it still interact. But behind, it's already detached from that body. It's already got that purification. It's just like the high monks, for example. There are many monks in China, in Thailand, in Sri Lanka, in India. When you look at them, they behave like a normal human being. They still get sick. They still have a flu. They still, they caught a cold, and they still have to get some Tylenol to take inside and cure it. That's the body. For example, when Ajahn Chah got sick, he couldn't speak. He was sick for 10 years. When people see him, this monk is suffering. Only his body is suffering, but not him. He has no suffering. He's happy, but his body is still suffering. But he was able to be detached from the suffering. So when you look at a senior monk, if you do something wrong, the enlightened monk could still get angry. You shouldn't do that. If you do it the next time, you'll be punished. You are a kind monk, how come you still scolded me? He scolded you because he differentiated accordingly because he wanted to teach you. He still behaved like a normal human being, but behind he has this enlightened identity inside. When this body died out, we call it parinirvana. Then no more of this body is in that state of eternity. No more of this body. Remember, when this body you carry around, you still have suffering. You still have to serve your karma. The fact that you've been studying Buddhism for a long time, you've been doing all these good deeds, and how come in your final years you still have suffering? Because you burned the last straw of bad karma out. When that last straw is burned out, you're in purity. So don't lose your confidence if you're still, how come I've been meditating, I've been doing all these things, and how come there's bad things to happen to me? Am I supposed to meet only the good things when I believe in the Buddha? Everything will be so peaceful and lovable to me when I started meditation, and how come I still have all these things? Because you still have the karma that you have to serve, the few last straws that you still have to burn. When you burn away that, you clean it up. So it is beyond duality. When completely pure and bright, it is nirvana. When you practice meditation, you practice and practice and practice, and some people say, I'm not getting anywhere. I feel good about it. Am I getting anywhere? You don't have to get anywhere. Why do you have to get anywhere? Your body is still there, you're still here. Why do you still have to get to somewhere that you love, you like? Why do you still want that kind of attraction?